In today's video, we're checking out the Colbor CL100 video light. This is by far the brightest light I've ever used. Hands down, I've got a whole bunch of LED lights, softbox studio lights, panels, you name it. This thing is by far the brightest. My backyard's back there and it's huge. I've got lots of trees, it's dark, and I have a feeling that this is powerful enough to light up the trees all the way down the back. So we're going to test that out before we get into the studio, and then I'll run you through each of the features. Here we go. 10%, 15, 20, 25, 30. Let's crank it up to 45. Wow. This is insane. It's like it's like daytime out here. 50, 55, 60, 75. Wow, I can see everything out here right now. And this is all the way up to 100. This is crazy. This is so bright. Wow, my neighbors are gonna love this. So there you have it. That's the Colbor CL100 at its maximum. It was insane. I could hear possums and all that kind of stuff just going crazy in the trees back there. This completely lit up the backyard. Being that the camera was on auto ISO as well, it was kind of adjusting to compensate for the extra brightness. But just know, never look at this thing when it's above 10% if you're looking this way. It is super bright. It's insane. It's like a bowling alley light on steroids. So if you're looking for a very bright light you could bounce off a wall or have as a spotlight in the right type of situation, this would definitely do the job. Before we get going, a massive thank you to Colbor for sending out the CL100 for this particular review. Just to let you know, they're not paying me to make this video, but they are letting me hold onto their sample unit. So that's why it says paid promotion somewhere on screen. That said, I'm going to give you my thoughts about this, the pros and cons, and who it's for. So one of the cool things about this is it's extremely light. It comes in at 1.1 kilograms, which is not very heavy at all. So if you're looking for a lightweight alternative to something like a softbox, then you're in luck. Now, there's a few things about this that make it very different to a softbox, but under the right situation, you could also kind of turn this into one if you have a diffuser. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but let's go over some of the things you need to know about this to see if it's right for you. If you work in any kind of studio situation where you'll be shooting in slow motion, the Colbor CL100 allows you to shoot up to 240 frames per second without getting flicker. Under these regular softbox studio lights and under LEDs, I have a hard time shooting above 100 frames per second most of the time before you start to see the flicker. So 240 frames per second, pretty cool. We get a color rendering index, or CRI, of 97. So the CL100 does a great job at replicating natural light. Now, a rating over 80 is acceptable. A rating over 90 is generally considered a high CRI rating, so a 97 is very good. What this means is that the results filming with this will be very similar to that filmed in natural light. In the bag, we get a remote control, and this will be used to set up the different parameters on the light on the fly. And the bag that it comes with is also great. And as you can see on this side here, we get proper packing foam, or almost like soundproof foam there. We get a shoulder strap as well. This is built for the road. So great having a bag of such high quality. If you need to transport this, you'll be good to go. It also comes with its own power supply. This light doesn't come with its own stand. So if you plan on using this, you'll need to get a light stand. You can adjust the angle of how you want it positioned nice and simply. One of the great things about this though, you can also sit it flat on a desk thanks to the design. That's how I'll be using it in this section of the video. Now when it comes to this front panel here, you can take this off. There's a little latch on the top here, pull it towards you, and then you're good to go. Here's where the light's emitted at the front here. Man, I can't believe just how bright this is. This is some crazy tech right here. To power up the light, simply tap the on button twice, and then it powers on. The dial in the center also doubles as a push button. So as we push it, we can cycle through each of the different modes and settings. So it says 6500K. We can change this to pure daylight at 5500. That's roughly the same color as daylight, and that's what I like to shoot at generally. So we can set that just by clicking there. The light's currently off right now, but I just want to run you through each of the settings. I'm going to turn this back up again for a moment. We'll put it to 20 just so you can get a sense of just how bright it is in a room that's already lit up. I'm going to turn off this little LED now and move this over here. See, can be way too bright. So even at 20 in a little studio room like this, in close proximity, it's full on. So we'll just turn that back down. Let's go through each of the different modes on the CL100. So if we hit the mode button over here, we go into candle, And as you can see, we get a nice warm light that's way more powerful than a candle, but I've just got my camera here so you can see exactly what's happening. It may overexpose the shot slightly, but you'll get a good sense of what's happening. We go over to bonfire. Yeah, it's extremely bright. We can go over to the next one, which is called breathing. This kind of cycles through lower to brighter settings automatically. We get faulty bulb, which is great for a horror movie if you shoot, short films or anything like that. We now have flash, which is to emulate a flash, and it's a very, very bright. Let me have a look. I can see pretty much most of the room light up like it. Yeah, they've replicated that really well. Now, if we go over to the next one, we get lightning. I shot a short film recently and I used this faux effect using some of these small LED lights, and this is far brighter, man. This is like crazy. This would have been perfect outdoors when we shot that film. If I hit the mode button again, we go back to where we started. Now, one of the great things about this is we can hit turbo mode, which just gets bright and the fan kicks in, and I'll show you that right now. So if we hold down this button, you can hear the fan ramp up, and you can see how bright. You can't even see the camera. It's so overexposed in the room here. This is insanely bright. Let's have a listen to the fan. I'll shut up for a second. I would say unless you're sitting right next to this, that shouldn't be heard whatsoever. Now, you can also change the fan mode by using this button over here. So if you hit the fan button, it will cycle between quiet and smart. I'd probably just leave it on smart most of the time, unless of course you're right next to it and you need, you might have a shotgun mic coming down. I don't know who would be in that situation, but yeah, smart mode would be the best, just to make sure everything stays cool. What I'm going to do now is turn off my softboxes, and we're going to set up the CL100 as the only light in the room, and we'll try it in a couple of different ways to see the results. Now we're checking out the Colbor CL100 as a primary light. Now, rather than just having it sort of spotlighted on me, because I'll get a whole lot of unnecessary shadows behind me, even with side lights, it's just one of those things that's hard to avoid. What I've done, I've just bounced it off the wall at 75%, and it looks amazing. I'm really impressed with the light. I was actually slightly overexposed with this light at 75%, even off the wall. So that should give you a clear indication of just how bright this is. I'm filming the light from behind it as well, so you can see exactly what's going on. And I have a feeling that this would be bright enough for almost any studio situation. Which brings me to my point. If you're used to the softbox look, you'll still need to get a diffuser. You don't get one with this, so just keep that in mind. If you're going to be using it just shining at you, it's extremely bright. So make sure you just don't look directly at the bulb, because yeah, it can cause some damage. I was stupid enough to accidentally do that when I first turned it on. It got me and it was nasty. So yeah, just be very, very careful with this light. I think it's probably best designed to be bounced off a wall, or at least be used as a fill. So if you're doing some sort of green screen, for example, that's where something like this would come in. You get a pair of these things, they're going to look great. One of the things I already love about this, just looking at it up there, as opposed to the softboxes, the room feels far bigger without the softbox on the stand. So this type of light makes shooting a whole lot easier and more space effective as well. I'm a big fan of decluttering. The softboxes have a particular look about them, but I think this looks really good, and it's nice and even, being that it's getting bounced off the wall. So let us know what you think of this. Of course, you can adjust the temperature of the light and go through all of those settings, but I usually shoot at 5500K, which is why I thought I'd keep it consistent for this video versus the softbox. And just to wrap this up, I'll side by side the original lighting, which was my softbox setup, versus using just a single Colbor CL100. The reason I want another one, I've got a secondary studio room over there. I think this would be perfect for my guitar channel. And lastly, while I've got this on at 75% with the smart fan on, I can hear it if I stop talking. So odds are you won't hear this on the recording whatsoever. So a massive thank you to Colbor for sending this out again. I really appreciate it. If you want to check these out, links to everywhere will be in the description below. Those affiliate links help support the channel at no extra cost to you. Thanks again. Catch you soon. See ya.